Hello, this is Mr. Stansbury. I'm going to take you through the 7E assignment. Okay, so first one is number 1. Find the equation of the horizontal line through 3, -4. Okay, so if you want to, you can graph it. 1, 2, 3, -1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's the point 3, -4, and now it's a horizontal line here, right? So it goes like this, and they want to know what's the equation of this line here. Okay, so this can be a struggle for some people, but what you can really do here is just start figuring out if you really get stuck, figure out a couple coordinates on here, and then it should start to help you figure out pretty quick what this is. So we know that this is 3, -4, right? So some other easy points. This one right here is at 0, -4. And let's say if we did this point right here, that's at -1, -4. And if you'll notice, you should start seeing a pattern. And you happen to notice that all of the y's equal -4. And that's the equation of the horizontal line through the point 3, -4. Okay? A little bit different way to do this is also to say, okay, here's how I often think of it. It's like, okay, this line here is crossing through the y-axis, so I know it's going to be y equals, and it's whatever the y value is, so it's y equals -4. Okay? Okay. Let's try B. Vertical line with x-intercept of 5. So we got -1. Oh, sorry, that's -1. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it's a vertical line, just like that. We want to know the equation of this line. So, again, this is the y-axis. This is the x-axis. So since it crosses through the x, I know it's going to be x equals, and then all the x's along this whole line are 5. So that's going to be x equals 5. Okay. C, vertical line through -1, -3. -1, -3. It's a vertical line, so it goes like that. Okay, so I know that that crosses through my x-axis, so that's going to be x equals, and x equals -1 all along that line. Okay. D, horizontal line with y-intercept of 2. So 1, 2, horizontal line, crosses through the, oops, that's a y, x, so it crosses through the y-axis, so it's y equals, and y equals 2 every single point on that, so the equation is going to be y equals 2. Okay. E, find the equation of the x-axis. So this is the x-axis, so we want to think of this as its own line. So let's do this. So we'll think of it, this is the red line here. Okay. So since it's a horizontal line, it crosses through the y-axis, and the y is 0 at all of those. Okay, everywhere along this entire line, the y value here is 0. Okay, and then let's see, F here is the y-axis. So we have this here, and now instead of the x-axis, it's now the y-axis. So we want to know the equation of that line. This line crosses through the x-axis, so it's going to be x equals, and every x value along that entire line is 0. Okay? All right. Next one, number 2. Let's see, we got A is at 0.55, B is at 710, are houses. So these two blue dots are houses. Y equals 8 is a gas pipeline. Where should the one outlet from the pipeline be placed so that it is the same distance from both houses so that they pay equal service costs? Right? So basically they're saying, okay, we want to put it right here. So we know that this distance is the same as that distance. Okay? So we got to figure out what that is. So really, if the big thing here is we want to know the distances on those. So distance formula, right, is going to be, that's our little x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. That's going to be our distance formula. Okay, so we know that the distance from, let's call this point, say, C here. Okay, so we know that the distance from here to here is the same as this distance from here to here. Okay, so let's just set our distances equal to each other. So we are saying that we know that BC is going to have to equal AC. Okay, so the distance from B to C is going to be, let's see this point right here, point C. We don't know the X, but we do know that the Y is 8. So let's call that point X and 8. So let's go, to make it a little bit easier for us later, let's go X minus 7 squared plus 8 minus 10 squared. Okay, that's our BC. And then we now know that that should equal the distance from A to C, right? So let's go x minus 5 squared plus 8 minus 5 squared. Okay, these two distances have to equal each other, so now all we have to do is just solve this. So looking at this here, the thing that I'm not a big fan of here is that they both have square roots. So to get rid of a square root, I'm simply just going to square both sides. So now we just have x minus 7 squared, and then we have 8 minus 10 squared, so I'm going to rewrite that as negative 2 squared. And then we got x minus 5 squared over here, and then 8 minus 5 is 3 squared. Okay, so we can simplify these two fairly easily. I'm going to leave these two alone for now. So I'm just going to leave that as x minus 7 squared plus 4 equals x minus 5 squared plus 9. All right? So now we really do need to multiply these out. Now I see this over and over and over again. People try to just say, oh, this is just x squared minus 49. No, you got to actually like FOIL it out. You got to multiply these two things out. Okay, this is x minus 7 times x minus 7. So I'm going to do that over here. So we have x minus 7 times x minus 7. I'm going to do the little stack method here. You can do the FOIL if you want. Whatever works for you is fine. Negative 7 times negative 7 is 49. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Put the 0 in there to hold the place. X times negative 7 is negative 7x. X times x is x squared. So we get x squared minus 14x plus 49 is what this is equal to. Not just x squared plus 49 or x squared minus 49. So we got x squared minus 14x plus 49 plus 4. And then on this side here, we've got x minus 5 times x minus 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. 0 in to hold the spot. X times negative 5 is negative 5x. X times x is x squared. So we get x squared minus 10x plus 25. So we get x squared minus 10x plus 25 plus 9. Okay, so I'm sure you're saying it's like, oh, this doesn't look a lot like a lot of fun, and it's not too bad. So let's do this. Let's simplify each side first. So we'll have x squared minus 14x. 49 and 4 is 53 equals x squared minus 10x plus 25 and 9 is 34. Now here's the great part. Look, there's an x squared on both sides, so if we just subtract x squared from both sides, then they're gone. And we just are left with negative 14x plus 53 equals negative 10x plus 34. And now we just need to solve for x, right? So I'm going to move my x's to the right side, because then I'll have positive x's here. So I'm going to add 14x to both sides. Right, And then since I'm moving the x's to the right side, I'm going to move my constants. So get rid of my 34, move those to the left side. Right? So we get 4x equals, let's see, 53 minus 34. Is that 34? Yeah, 34. So 53 minus 34 gives us 19. Divide both sides by 4, and we get x equals 19 fourths. Or you could say, let's see, 19 divided by 4 gives us 4.75. Okay, so we now know that this x here has to be 4.75. So now that midpoint there, we've got that point C has to be 4.75 and 8 in order for it to be equal for both houses. Okay, same distance. All right, that's a good one. That's a tough one. Number 3, CD is a water pipeline. So that's this right here. This is a water pipeline here. A and B are 2 towns. A pumping station is to be located on the pipeline to pump water to A and to B. Each town is to pay for their own service pipes and insist on equality of costs. So basically we got to put the pump station, okay, it's at a spot where it's going to be the exact same distance between from the pipeline to A and the pipeline to B. Okay, so we know that this distance here, we're calling C is let's just pretend that C is the pump station. So we know that this length here has to be the exact same as that length there. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to show that we want to figure out how we're going to make CB equal to CA, right? So again, back to the distance formula. So from C to B, let's see, we know that this here, we know that the y equals 7. We don't know what the x is, but we know that the y is 7. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, I'm going to actually get rid of this here and move it. Oops, sorry about that. Move it after I put the actual question on there. Okay, so where should C be located for equity of cost to occur? Okay, so again, we want to show that CB is the same as CA. Okay, so let's do C to B. So let's go x minus 5 squared and then 7 minus 4 squared. That's going to be what CB is. And then CA, let's go x minus 2 and then add 7 minus 3 squared. Okay, so again, we can square both sides here to get rid of the roots. So we're left with x minus 5 squared plus, let's see, 7 minus 4 is just 3 squared. And we got x minus 2 squared plus 7 minus 3 is 4 squared. Okay, so let's square each one of these things here. So again, we got to actually multiply the x minus 5 squared out. X minus 5 times x minus 5. Negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. Negative 5 times x is negative 5x. 0 in to hold the spot. X times negative 5 is negative 5x, and x times x is x squared. So that gives us x squared minus 10x plus 25 over here. So there's x squared minus 10x plus 25. And then 3 squared is 9. Okay, and then over here we've got x minus 2 times x minus 2. Negative 2 times negative 2 is 4. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. 0 in the hold the spot. X times negative 2 is negative 2x, and then x times x is x squared. So that gives us x squared minus 4x plus 4. So there's our x squared plus 4x plus 4. And then 4 squared is 16. So let's simplify all this. X squared minus 10x plus 34 equals x squared plus, let's see, oops, I put plus 4x, but that should be minus 4x. So let's fix that. Okay, so that's minus 4x. So this is minus 4x plus 20, right? Now again, the nice part about this here is we can subtract the x squareds from both sides, and those are gone. Okay, so let's see, we got negative 4x and negative 10x. I'm going to move my x's to the right so that they're positive. Right, so since I've moved my x's over here, I'm going to move my constants to the left, so subtract 20 from both sides. And we end up with 14 equals 6x. Divide by 6, and we get the x is, let's see, 14 divided by 6 is going to give us what, 2 1/3. Okay, so we know that that point there, so we now know here that this point is, for it to be equal, is going to have to be, oh, let's see, I gotta get my pen back. Here we go. Oh, it doesn't work. All right, so we know that point's going to have to be at 2.33 and 7 for it to be equal. Okay? Okay. Let's try the next question. B, what's the total length of service pipe required? Okay, so if you'll remember up here that this point here has got to be at 2.33 and 7. So we got to find that, find the total distance of these two pipes. Good news is that they're both exactly the same length, so really all we have to do is just find one of them. So distance is going to equal, I'm just going to do, let's just do CB. So that is going to be, we know that we got 2.33, or 2 1/3, minus 5 squared plus 7 minus 4 squared. All right, so let's see, that's going to be 2.33 minus 5 is going to be 2.67 squared, and then 7 minus 4 is 3 squared. So let's figure that out. Come on, turn on, here we go. So that's going to be 2 2/3, so 2 plus 2/3, there we go. Square that, and then add 9 to that, and we get 16.11, square root of 16.11 repeating. So then we'll just square root that answer. We get 4.01 for each one. So we got to take that distance times 2 is going to end up giving us 8.02 roughly, and this is in kilometers. Okay, that's part B. Last part. Ooh, what happened there? Let's try that again. Okay, here we go. Last part. 3C. If the towns agree to pay equal amounts, would it be cheaper to install the service pipeline from D to B to A? So they're saying from here to here to here. So they're basically just going to say that the two towns are going to split up the total cost. So let's see. We basically have to figure out if this length from here to here is longer or shorter than these lengths together here. Okay, so let's find the distance from D to B. So this point here has to be, let's see, that has to be 5, because there's the x value is 5, 7. right? So we have all three of the points now. So this distance from here to here, since the x's are the same, it's just going to be the difference in the y. So this distance has to be 3 kilometers. So now we just have to find the distance between A and B. So distance from A to B is going to be, let's go with 2 minus 5 squared plus 3 minus 4 squared. So that's going to give us 2 minus 5 is negative 3 squared, and then 3 minus 4 is negative 1 squared. So that gives us square root of 9 plus 1 equals the square root of 10. So let's find out the exact value of the square root of 10. 3.16. 3.16 kilometers. 3.16 kilometers. Right? So that's a grand total of 3.16 plus 3 gives us 6.16 kilometers. Right? And we found the distance on the other one. Let's see. Forgive me here for a second. I'm going to do this. Ooh. How do I get that? Let's see. Oh, well, there it is. It's 8.02 kilometers. There we go. So the other one was from CA and CB was 8.02. So I believe that, let's see, the question is, would it be cheaper to install the service from D to B to A? Yes, it would be. By, gosh, it's almost 2 kilometers shorter. Okay. All right. That's all there is for 7E. If you have any questions, please ask them in class. Thanks.